Welcome to part 7 of my 1 to 60 Alliance leveling guide. We left off flying to Lakeshire, Redridge. When you arrive in Redridge, first grab the quest Blackrock bounty right in front of the flight path, then cross the bridge and head to Werner in the stables. Take the quest from him, Howling in the Hills, then go inside the town hall and take the quest Solomon's Law. Lastly, continue to the wanted poster in front of the tavern and grab the quest Wanted Lieutenant Fangor. And that's it. This is a quickie little run through Redridge, but we need to hit level 28 by the end of this, so let's get to work. Start by running east out of Redridge, then north up into the mountains. Avoid fighting as many of these grey gnolls as possible. We only need to kill one Yowler, and he's hiding far northwest in the camp in the mountains. At our level, most of these gnolls won't aggro, but some greybees you'll have to squash until you reach the camp with the Yowler in it. Now, my method for killing Yowler may not work for every class, but I prefer the method of just charging in at Yowler, using Intimidating Shout on the camp, and then killing Yowler before the fear wears off. Obviously easier if Retaliate is up, and you can be more cautious and clear around the camp, but either way, don't forget to loot Yowler's paw before you run for your life. Yowler's pretty tough even though he's lower level because of the camp Yowler's sitting with, so group up if possible, but otherwise we out-level most of the mobs, so you should be able to find a way to just burst him down and manage, or clear around the camp by yourself. Next, head back east to the road in the direction of Althur's Mill, but go beyond the mill past Stonewatch until you reach a place called Galardel Valley with Shadowhide gnolls. For this area, we want to massacre these gnolls for their Shadowhide pendants and clear northeast towards Lieutenant Fangor. Some of the gnolls are tightly packed, but they're also green to us at level 27, so pulling 2 to 3 and cleaving isn't a big deal. These Redridge quests can be really annoying to do at the correct level, that's why I opt to do them when I over-level them. Something to note while killing the gnolls is that they can drop a very rare quest starting item, Glowing Shadowhide Pendant, and we'll be grinding here a bit to reach a certain experience threshold, but don't worry about getting this quest item. If it doesn't drop, that's fine. We want to reach 25,000 experience into level 27 before we leave this Shadowhide gnoll spot to guarantee all the quests we turn in will ding us 28. So kill the gnolls in excess until you get the Shadowhide pendants done, and kill Fangor in between. Fangor will usually pull with an ad, so you can build up rage on a single pull and then go in full rage cleave on him when he's up, or wait out your retaliate cooldown if it's not available. Another objective we have while we're here is to turn in a Watchful Eye. To the south, just outside of the tower, against the eastern mountains, you'll find a big lion head statue. Talk to the statue to turn in a Watchful Eye and accept the follow-up Looking Further. Once you've got Solomon's Law completed, Wanted Lieutenant Fangor completed, and you are 25,000 experience into level 27, you are pretty much done here, so let's head back west. Now we have this quest here, it's called Looking Further. It's pretty much impossible to finish solo without corpse hopping. I like to do it, but I'm pretty sure it's not experience efficient because of the death timer, but I do it anyway. If you don't want to suicide or group up, just drop this quest. But basically, we want to climb Stonewatch Tower and interact with a barrel on top to turn in the quest Looking Further. My genius method is to walk around the back of the tower filled with Blackrock elites, run up inside spamming Piercing Howl to make it as close to the top of the tower as possible before dying.
Not ready yet.
Then, after you die, release, run back, and resurrect on the stairs just below the top floor. get yourself to full HP, and then run up to the top floor where there are 2 elites walking around. Wait for them to be close to each other, aggro them, pull them to this barrel here, and then use Intimidating Shout without putting any dots on them. Then use the barrel to turn in the quest for 1800 experience before the fear wears off, and then jump off the side of the tower. If I could do the jump off the tower without dying a second time, I'm pretty sure this would be worth it, but I always die twice, which makes me question if it's worth doing. I still do it anyways because it's kind of fun. If you don't have a way to kill the 2 elites at the top or hard CC them, probably not doable for your class, so consider skipping it if you don't think you can handle it. And if you're a hunter that can just feign death and use their pet to tank, you suck, I hate you. But once you're back in your bones, go back west to the road, and this time follow it north into the mountains until you see more Blackrock orcs. Follow the opening in the mountain west while killing the orcs along the way. The pulls can be big here, nearly 2 to 3 for all of them, but we overlevel these orcs to make it a little bit less frustrating to handle. You'll start feeling the fall off of your Deadmines weapon pretty badly here, so it's ideal to group up if possible for these quests. Our goal is to make it around the camps outside the cave and go northwest into the cave. Because of our level, it is possible to sneak around the camp for now, but at the cave we'll start seeing Blackrock champions that we need to kill 15 of for the quest. While we're killing champions, we also want to clear into the cave towards an escort NPC in the far back, taking the leftmost path as we enter. The escort NPC is elite and functions as a tank. He will taunt anything you aggro and charge it. He makes killing mobs in the cave way easier, so if you're in here alone, I would say go straight for him. Just make sure you finish the Blackrock champions or are close to finishing them when you start the escort, as the escort will take you all the way back to Lakeshire, and you don't want to have to run back here because you missed one Blackrock champion. Another thing you want to note about this escort on a PvP server is that 6 sadistic horde players love to gank alliance that are doing this escort just before it completes. So if there's a lot of PvP activity going on in Lakeshire, just skip this escort altogether. It's not worth it, you won't get it done. So, once you're done with the Blackrock champions, find Corporal Kishan and take the quest from him, missing in action. The quest is deceptively hard because Kishan is so strong in the cave, but you should notice something with his behavior, that he always charges at anything that aggroes you or him. And this is a problem when you get out of the cave back to those big camps. To deal with this, pull mobs way back that are ahead of Kishan and do this over and over throughout the cave. He'll always leash back to where he was when the pull started. This gives you the chance to clear way ahead of Kishan's path to prevent him from charging in like a suicide monkey. Don't clear so far that you fail the escort quest, but give yourself enough room that once you get out of the cave, you can start pulling groups of 1 to 2 Blackrock orcs in the big camps and bring them back to the cave to Kishan using line of sight before he leaves the cave. If you pull them like this, you'll avoid Kishan Leroying himself into the camps of 8 orcs and instead be able to deal with them in smaller groups, utilizing the fact that Kishan is an elite and will taunt anything that you aggro. So even if you're a squishy class, make sure to use Kishan as your own personal prot warrior. Once you are able to carefully clear the camp outside the cave like this, solo or in a group, doable, you'll be in the clear, and all that's left is to just roleplay walk back with Kishan all the way back to Lakeshire Redridge. It's painfully slow, so you can see why sadistic horde players take pleasure in ganking alliance that finally make it to the end of the escort. Luckily that doesn't happen to me, and we get Kishan back home safe and sound. Now because we grinded to 25,000 experience, once we turn in Missing in Action, Howling in the Hills, then Wanted Lieutenant Fangor, Solomon's Law, and Blackrock Bounty, we should be sitting pretty at level 28. So run around Lakeshire until they're all turned in.
How are you?
Then vendor, repair, mail any herbs you got, and it's time for us to fly to Stormwind.
Hello.
Now, as we're flying to Stormwind at this point in the guide, we are now ready to start looking for our second dungeon group, Stockades. Stockades can be run by level 22-23-ish to level 30 players. At level 28, we should be able to tank the place without taking much damage. So immediately start seeking out players and looking for group and Stormwind to do Stockades. Even though Stockades is a stupidly easy dungeon, because I don't know when you'll get a group for it, whenever you do, just click the link in the description for my Stockades video guide. And don't panic about not finding one right away. We'll be lingering in Duskwood next, where we keep looking for a group until around level 32, so keep seeking people until you get a full group to run it. If you don't get a Stockades group, you're not going to miss out on much gear, but you're going to miss out on a lot of easy XP, and you'll have to do a lot of grinding as an alternative. When you land in Stormwind though, we're going to run straight to the Cathedral District first. Into the big cathedral. Inside, talk to the boy walking around for the quest The Missing Diplomat, and at the back of the building, turn in the quest Cleansing the Eye. If you don't have heavy wool bandages trained yet, train it now or you are super duper behind on first aid and you should stop what you were doing and catch up, because you don't want to abandon first aid. It's very important to make your leveling life easy. The next stop will be Stormwind Keep. Head straight to the keep and up the long ramp to the throne room. Then make a hard right into the side room and turn in the Missing Diplomat for the follow-up quest. After that, we're going to head over to the warrior class trainer in the same old place he always is. Here we will be training rank 2 charge, rank 2 overpower, rank 3 thunderclap, shield wall, and challenging shout. Skip the other, so as we're trying to save money already for our level 40 mount. The next stop is the Gates of Stormwind. On a small piece of land near the water of the Valley of Heroes, talk to this fisher dude to turn in the Missing Diplomat for the follow-up quest. Then head back into the cheese shop on the right in the trade district to turn in the last part of the Missing Diplomat in Stormwind for now. Take the follow-up, and then all that's left to do in Stormwind is to go to the bank and take out the quest items for the Totem of Affliction if you banked them, as we'll be flying to Darkshire, Duskwood next. When you land in Darkshire, the first step is to grab any and all quests you abandoned, as well as some new ones. Make sure you have Look to the Stars from the Southeast House. Then, down the road to the left, grab the quest Worgen in the Woods. Then from the Commander, grab the Night's Watch and the Legend of Stalvin if you drop them.
Well met. Have a good one. Be careful.
Then in the tavern, take the quest Gather Rot Blossoms and Finding the Shadowy Figure if you drop those as well. Make sure to also set Darkshire as your Hearthstone home. Clear up your bags and then head on the road north out of Darkshire. Along the road you should find a patrolling Watcher Bacchus. Talk to him to turn in the Missing Diplomat and take the follow-up. Then continue on the road north out of Darkshire until you see the road branch off east up a hill. You'll start seeing some level 30 ghouls that we really want to hamstring kite and save Retaliate for Stalvin in the house. These ghouls suck, and they put a big nasty disease on you that slows your swing speed. It doesn't make you at risk of dying because of the hamstring method, it just makes killing everything really tedious as long as you have it on you. Clear the ghouls around the house until you are able to pull Stalvin by himself. Don't clear excessively, we want to deal with as little of these annoying ghouls as possible. Once you can safely pull Stalvin from inside the house, grab him and then pop Retaliate. He's a named and he's level 32, and he attacks really fast, so Retaliate makes him kill himself quickly. It's possible to kill him without Retaliate, but difficult and will likely require bandages and lots of hamstring kiting at this level, but definitely soloable. Once he's dead, loot his ring and then head west on the other side of the road and then south. You should start seeing worgen scattered around the hills and some condensed camps of them. We only need to kill one type, the Nightbane Shadow Weavers, but you'll find a few types, so navigate through them to get the quest complete. Those Shadow Weavers like to spam Shadow Bolt, so hamstring kiting won't do you much unless you interrupt them first using shield swap macros, which I recommend you do. It'll lower your incoming damage by a lot from these guys. Once you get all 6, just run southeast over the hills back into Darkshire. All we're gonna do here in Darkshire is turn in Worgen in the Woods and accept the follow-up of the same name, then turn in the Legend of Stalvin.
Well met. Be careful.
Clear your bags if needed, and then head back south out of Darkshire. Follow the road west a bit until you see a tiny path going south of the road into the rotting orchard. In the orchard, we'll find more worgen. This time, we need to kill 12 Nightbane Dark Runners. They're much more abundant and honestly easier to deal with than the Shadow Weavers. Cleaving 2 is possible if you build up rage, and you'll find more Dark Runners southwest and around the buildings. So keep killing the doggos until you've got all 12. Then make your way back to the road. We're going to now make the long trek to western Duskwood, all the way back to Raven Hill like we did all those years ago. Once you get to Raven Hill though, don't go north into Raven Hill. Instead, go south into the Addle's Stead, where we'll catch those nasty Defias mobs again. What we want to do here is in the easternmost farmhouse at the stead, there is a chest which we need for the missing diplomat quest. So cautiously clear the stealth Defias using perception and other means. Don't move too quickly here or you might find yourself with 3 stealth Defias rogues attacking you. Once you get close to the house, normally there is an elite caster sitting outside of it. At this time it is possible to solo her. But the funny thing is, she's not actually alone. There's stealth Defias around her. We can utilize line of sight in the building to group up the Defias and then CC them using fear to buy ourselves just enough time to loot the chest inside the house to get the quest completed. I got lucky here as I ran, someone had already killed the elite beforehand. But if she's up for you, don't panic. Just use your CCs to deal with her and kill the other adds. Reset if you need to, and eventually you'll be able to get to the chest without having to deal with her. It is even possible to kill her if you just spam line of sight every single spell she casts, so she doesn't actually do any damage to you. But it takes a long time and you risk accidentally aggroing more stealth Defias hiding around the house. Ideally we want to get this done without having to corpse run at all. So take the safest method, and with the Defias docket in your hand, run back north to the road, and now we're going to enter Raven Hill. Talk to Jitters and turn in the quest finding the shadowy figure, accept the follow-up, return to Sven, then start heading north, and on the way kill skeletal fiends and horrors until you get 8 rot blossoms to complete the quest gather rot blossoms. They should be pretty easy for you to deal with at this time. Once you've got them, we're going to continue northwest until you return to Sven. And when you return to Sven, turn in the quest, return to Sven, and accept the quest, Proving Your Worth. Proving Your Worth asks you to kill skeletal raiders, healers, and warders. We also have the Night Watch quest, which is asking us to kill 20 plague spreaders. So head into Raven Hill Cemetery from the north and get to work. The skeletal healers heal, so you need to interrupt that. You can utilize the white tomb here to line of sight pull them and avoid any double pulls on these skeletons because they are pretty tough. The skeletal raiders put crippling poison on us so we can't hamstring kite them. They're annoying and we need to kill 15. And there aren't a ton of spawns of them, but they spawn over a wide area. So first put priority on killing the 3 healers and the 3 warders. The warders only spawn inside the tomb, so you'll need to clear around the entrance to get inside. Climb down into the tomb, kill 3 warders while you're in here as quickly as possible, and try to kill 3 healers as well, so you can head back out and not be so restricted to farming around this tomb as the raiders spawn in other places. Definitely group up if possible for these quests, but not necessary. Once you've got the warders and healers killed inside, we can safely shift our attention to the spooky house on the hill. Inside the house there are more raiders that spawn, and around the house you'll find raiders and some plague spreaders we need for the night watch. But while you're killing around the house, make your way to the north side and look for a small grave down the hill a bit. It can be hard to spot. Talk to the grave and accept the quest, The Weathered Grave. When you kill all of the plague spreaders and raiders around the house, rather than wait for respawn, let's hearth back to Darkshire because we're actually missing a quest that wants us to kill more ghouls anyway. When you get back to Darkshire in the tavern, turn in Gather Rot Blossoms and accept the quest Juice Delivery. Then turn in a Weathered Grave inside the town hall and accept Morgan Lattimore. Turn it in again for the follow-up. Next, turn in Worgen in the Woods for the next quest in that chain as well. Then go north on the road to Watcher Bacchus and turn in and accept the next part of the missing diplomat.
What can I do for you?
Clear your bags, mail your herbs, etc. This next cycle is a big marker for first aid and herbalism. By the end of this cycle, we want to be 150 first aid and 150 herbalism. Head south again on the road and go back to the rotting orchard. You should be level 29 or close to 29 right now, especially if you did the stockades. If you are not 29, kill the Shadowrunners and Weavers until you do hit 29, and then make your way east over the hills of the Rotting Orchard until you find the Nightbane Vilefangs. These pulls are tricky. The camps are tightly packed, so most end up being double pulls. At 29 with full rage, they are cleavable, but it's risky business, and 3 mean you will die. We need 8 Vilefangs outside the cave, and 8 Tainted ones that spawn inside the cave. It's a straight kill quest, and there are so few spawns that even killing all the mobs will not complete the quest. You have to wait on respawns. So definitely group up if there are other people doing it. As you clear into the cave, note that there is a named Worgen that patrols around the cave. Keep an eye out for him and don't get ambushed by him. He's not really dangerous, but don't let him get the jump on you. He's for a warrior quest that we skipped because it involved RFK, so don't worry about not having his quest. The best way to handle this quest is to clear directly into the cave and clear the entire cave to get as many Tainted ones as possible, then go back outside and kill Vilefangs until the Tainted ones respawn, and then rinse and repeat until the quest is complete. Hey, that rhymed. Then make your way back to the road and run once again west through Duskwood. Keep an eye out for any herbs that give skill ups or are useful, so King's Blood, Bruiseweed, Wild Steel Bloom, or Briarthorn. This time we do not want to go all the way to Raven Hill, as our first stop is the Hermit. So once the mountains clear up, run north along them, killing spiders and herbing it up as you go. When you reach the hermit, turn in the juice quest and accept Ghoulish effigy. Then go back to killing plague spreaders and raiders around the spooky house and the graveyard. The raiders will only spawn around the house and the tomb and inside the house, so finish them off first and kill any plague spreaders you find along the way.
I can't do that yet.
Most of the plague spreaders spawn underground though, and we need 20 of them for Night Watch. We also need 10 ghoul fangs for Totem of Infliction and 7 ghoul ribs. So once you're finished with the raiders, clear your way through the other types of ghouls on the northeast section of the cemetery until you get access to the broken tomb, then clear your way down below where you'll find more plague spreaders. You should be fine with pulls of 2 of these ghouls cleaving them down. They don't really hit hard or have any really noticeably difficult abilities to deal with, and if this place is crowded, grouping up is not a bad idea. This is also a popular farming spot.
That ability isn't ready.
Once the Night Watch quest, Totem of Infliction quest, and Ghoulish Effigy quests are all done, run northeast back to the Hermit to turn in the Ghoulish Effigy for the follow-up quest, Ogre Thieves. Our next stop now is going to be far south of the cemetery, the Ogre Mound. Once you arrive back at the road south of the cemetery, follow it east until it drops down south into the Mound of Ogres. We'll be grinding here a bit on these ogres. It is possible to double pull these guys, but risky. Single pulls should be super easy peasy to deal with. Use Hamstring Kite on the warriors and interrupt the casters when you can. Now we've got some hard profession caps to hit here. 2 quests we want to do as well, and we want to hit level 30. So first, let's do the quests. Clear your way to the southwest area of the mound to the entrance of the cave. Just outside the cave to the right, you should find Abercrombie's crate, loot it to complete Ogre Thieves. Then we're going to clear into the cave and follow the main path into the Ogre Mound, and you'll eventually find a named ogre named Zarkavul. He'll be level 33, but we should be level 29 now, and he doesn't do anything special, so you should be fine to hamstring kite him till he dies. He can be pulled alone, but if you aggro the nearby firemonger, make sure to kill the firemonger first using cleave, and then reset if your HP gets too low, or pop retaliate. Once he's dead, loot him to complete Look to the Stars, and then head back out of the cave. Before we leave this mound, let's work on the other goals. The first goal is to reach 150 first aid. The ogres drop wool and are not quest objectives, so it's an ideal grinding spot for us to get the wool we need to make sure we're at 150, so we can train silk bandages and start using all that silk we've been getting. The second goal is to get the recipe Elixir of Ogre's Strength. This recipe makes leveling alchemy way easier, and it gives high skill ups but uses Earthroot and Kingsblood, really easy to get herbs. The spellcasters in this Ogre Mound all have a 4% chance to drop it, so in a perfect world, if you kill 25 of them, you should get the recipe. You can skip this recipe if you are not following the alchemy part of this guide, but if you are, it's worth grinding out here to get that goddamn recipe. The third goal is to hit level 30. This goal may involve a lot of grinding if you haven't gotten a Stock Guides group yet, but we have to be level 30 for the next part of this guide, so it's a hard milestone cap that we must hit, and these ogres are nice for grinding. And the fourth goal, it's an ideal goal but not a must, is getting 150 herbalism or above. The reason is we're about to trek through areas with a lot of tasty life root, and we really want to be able to start grabbing life root. If you aren't 150, try to be close. Herbalism is kind of a weird profession in that herbs of multiple ranks mix together, so you can still catch up but consider yourself behind. So once you are 150 first aid, level 30, have an elixir of ogre strength recipe, then we're done with the ogre party. We're gonna head back north up to the hermit on the northeast end of Raven Hill. Turn in the quest Ogre Thieves and accept the follow-up note to the mayor. And lastly, if you haven't already, run to Sven's camp again and turn in Proving Your Worth and accept the follow-up to that Seeking Wisdom.
Need help?
And with that, you can safely hearth back to Darkshire. In Darkshire, clear your bags of all that grinding junk. Then turn in the Night Watch for a nice new bag.
Safe travels.
Inside the town hall, turn in the note to the mayor for the follow-ups. They have you run around a bit, and eventually you'll get the quest Bride of the Embalmer.
I'm out of range.
Greetings. Well met. What can I do for you? Light be with you. King's honor, friend. Need help?
Then head out and turn in Worgen in the woods, and for the follow-up he sends you inside the house behind him. So turn that in for some pretty items and lots of XP. And then turn in the Totem of Affliction at Madame Eva inside the house to the north.
You need some?
Lastly, run up the hill and turn in Look to the Stars on the east side of Darkshire.
Greetings.
That should pretty much finish up all your work here. So it's time to hop on the birdie to Stormwind.
What can I do for you? Be careful.
When you land in Stormwind, go back to the cheese shop in the trade district and talk with Eliang Trias to turn in the missing diplomat for the follow-up quest which sends you to Old Town. So run over the canals into Old Town, and at the center of Old Town you'll find Dashel's Stonefist as a quest turn-in. When you accept his follow-up quest, he will attack you with 2 flunkies, so I recommend you stand behind him so you don't get back attacked. Once he is hostile, his goons will jump in. You can intimidating shout them or retaliate. Either is fine, you only need to beat up Dashel to finish this fight, not his friends. So focus on Dashel, get him down as quick as possible to complete the quest, and then accept the follow-up.
Talk to me. What's on your mind?
Our next stop will be to head to the Warrior Trainer. Here, we will be training our level 30 abilities, which is basically just Rend rank 4, and accept the level 30 Warrior class quest for a Berserker stance called the Islander, and we will now respec from Fury to Arms for 1 gold. Your talent build should look a little bit something like this. At this point in the guide, if you are not playing at launch and have extra gold or a high level friend, drop everything you're doing and go do the Islander quest chain to get your Whirlwind Axe as soon as possible. It makes leveling the next 20 levels a joke, so the sooner the better. If you are all by yourself though, don't worry, we will get the axe in about 6 levels. It's not that far away. We'll survive. Until then, we're gonna be stuck with our Deadmines weapon until we get our Chaos in a little bit. The next stop will be, however, the Cathedral District when you're done with the Warrior Trainer, so go straight over the canals until you reach it. Then in the Cathedral District, we'll head into the Cathedral and straight to the back and turn in the quest Seeking Wisdom and accept the follow-up quest The Doomed Fleet. Then we'll stop by the First Aid Trainer and train Silk Bandages. We do not want to make any Silk Bandages yet. We'll be stuck at 150 First Aid for a little bit longer, so just hang on to that Silk. Lastly, head southwest into the Mage Quarter of Stormwind. At the center of the Mage Quarter, at the base of the big tower, you'll find the quest Malin's Request. Accept it, and that's it. And one last time, stop by the cheese shop to turn in the missing diplomat and accept the follow-up.
Greetings.
Finish up any other Stormwind business you have. If you haven't done stockades yet, don't worry, we will be back here again for one last chance soon. Otherwise, just skip or doodle it. It's just for experience. There's not really any major rewards, save for one ring that's really cool and we're going to use until level 50, but it's not necessary for this guide. So head over to the Stormwind Flightmaster when you are ready and take the flight to Wetlands. At this point, you should be roughly around 24 hours played. Maybe faster, maybe a little bit slower, but from this point on, we will be entering horde contested leveling zones and the quests will become much less linear. So basically, this is where things are gonna get interesting. But more about that when we land in Medithil for the next part of the guide. Stay tuned. Until then, guys, I am booping out. Boop.